Good evening, everybody. My name is Kirsten. I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself first. I've been a vegetarian for approximately 2 years. It was something that I thought about for a very long time, but about 2 years ago I decided to take action. In August 2008, I decided to do a 30-day experiment to see if I could go that long without eating any meat. I did, and I haven't gone back. I didn't make any drastic changes to my diet. I just substituted vegetarian food for anything that was meat-based. Mostly veggie burgers for hamburgers or plain pizza for pepperoni pizza. And in January of '09, I gave up seafood. But I'm not here tonight to convince anybody to try to give up meat, because I know that it's very difficult to convince people to do that. It's been 2 years and I still get questions and some teasing from my own family about my decision. And when I tell people that I'm vegetarian, sometimes they give me weird looks about like, oh, how could you possibly do something like that? But what I want to talk about tonight is that just by reducing the amount of meat that you have in your diet, you would be reaping multiple health benefits and living a healthier lifestyle. Just by reducing the amount of meat in your diet, not only will you be healthier, but also the environment and the global community. According to WebMD, the American Cancer Society, the American Institute for Cancer Research, and the American Heart Association all recommend a diet that's rich in plant-based foods. This type of diet contains an abundance of antioxidants, phytochemicals, and fiber, and it's also low in saturated fat and cholesterol. Also, reducing meat consumption can help curb greenhouse gas emissions and other environmental problems such as habitat destruction that's related to raising the cattle and other animals. If you have too much food or too much meat in your diet, as it pertains to your health, it can cause high cholesterol, it can cause heart disease. There was a study published in 2004 called the China Study that found that people who eat the most animal protein have the most heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. And this was a study done over a period of 20 years where they studied about 65 rural communities in China. And they studied these people's environment, their lifestyle, their mortality rates, and compared people who had an animal-based diet versus a plant-based diet. And they found that people eating more of an animal-based diet had higher health problems than the people with the plant-based diet. The negative impacts on the environment, as I said, greenhouse gas emissions and habitat destruction. According to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, they estimate that approximately 1/5 of the world's global greenhouse gas emissions comes from meat production. And there was also a study done out of the University of Chicago that estimates about 28%, or the United States accounts for about 28% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. It's also been studied that the use of land and energy resources for an animal-based diet versus a plant-based diet requires more energy, land, and resources. So an animal-based diet really is less sustainable than a plant-based diet. And as it affects the global community, too much meat in your diet, malnutrition and starvation. According to the World Food Program, there's approximately 925 million people in the world who do not have enough to eat. That's more than the combined populations of the United States, Canada, and Europe. 98% of those people live in developing countries, and every year over 10 million children under the age of 5 die because of malnutrition and starvation. So you might be asking yourself, well, how can we help? The solution is to reduce the amount of meat in your diet. Doing this will not only benefit you, but also the environment and the world. For yourself, or for ourselves, it will help our bodies heal more quickly and to ward off possible health problems and disease. According to the American Dietetic Association, This reduction will help preventing and treating certain diseases, and it will make us all around a more healthier person. A vegetarian diet is associated with lower risks of heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, cancer, and also usually a lower body mass index. Reducing meat consumption can help to tackle climate change. According to the Environmental Defense, if every American skipped one chicken meal a week, the carbon dioxide savings would be equivalent to about taking 500,000 cars off of the United States roads. And reducing meat consumption will help to reduce the effects of famine around the world. 70% of the grain that's grown in the United States is used to feed animals that are being raised for slaughter. There's 7 billion livestock currently in the United States, and they consume 5 times more grain than what actual American people are consuming. David Pimentel, who was a professor at Cornell University, stated that if this grain was used to feed people rather than animals, about 800 million people could be fed. And also, if the U.S. exported this grain to other countries, they could boost their U.S. trade balance by about $80 million. What is the benefit for all of this? You, the people around you, the environment, the world will all be healthier. Basically, for our health, if we eat healthier, we'll be healthier. We'll help to minimize our risk for health problems. A vegetarian meal, if it's planned properly, is balanced. You're not going to be missing out on any nutrients, not going to miss out on any protein or anything like that. It also offers the opportunity to possibly try new ethnic cuisines, such as Indian, Middle Eastern, or Asian cuisines. They, usually if you go to one of these types of restaurants, they have a very large vegetarian menu that you can choose from. And also you'll benefit by making the environment safer and cleaner, not just for you, but for your loved ones, for everybody. The animals won't be transported around the United States or around the world. The land that they're using right now to raise these animals could be used to grow more food for people. And also, the grain that currently is being used to feed these animals could be used to feed the people who actually really need it. There's 756 million tons of grain right now that's currently being fed to animals throughout the world. If this grain could be used to feed the people in abject poverty who really need it, they could receive more than half a ton of grain, which is 2 to 3 times more than what they would actually need to survive. So, how can we start? Well, just start small. Maybe just every day, reducing the amount of meat that you consume in your diet. Or make one day a week a meat-free day. There's a movement that's called Meat-Free Monday. Paul McCartney has a website about it. There's other websites called Meat-Free Monday. And this might help you to remember, one day a week just not to have meat in your diet. If you're Catholic, you might have one day a week already during Lent where you're not eating meat. If you're Hindu, I think you might be avoiding meat on Tuesdays. You could become a flexitarian, which is a part-time vegetarian. And there's actually cookbooks available for sale online and in stores that are geared towards flexitarian, people who consider themselves to be flexitarian. And when you're at a restaurant, you could just choose a meat-free option. Choose, the veggie burger over the hamburger. Choose eggplant parm over chicken parm. Or go to an Indian restaurant and choose something off their vegetarian menu. There's no downsides to just reducing the amount of meat that's in your diet. Not only will you be benefiting yourself, but you'll be benefiting the environment and the world.